Well, see, unfortunately, at the present moment, something in the Australian government is going very, very wrong. Now, I don't know if the average person in the US or Europe or America has heard about this, but the Australian scene, media, political scene, is in the throes of this, what's supposed to be, what's been billed as a national plebiscite on gay marriage. And at the present moment, there's all kinds of advertisements on billboards, and TV and radio, and all kinds of discussion and debate, acting as though Australia is in the middle of a referendum. A referendum, a national poll, to ask people whether legislation should be modified or something. But the funny thing is that there's all this media coverage on the gay marriage thing, but it is all in fact bogus, completely bogus. For some bizarre reason, the Australian federal government said something about conducting some kind of national plebiscite. And there's actually all these people urging people to vote yes or no, but it's not in fact any kind of democratic poll. See, this thing that's being conducted by the government is not being conducted by the Australian Electoral Commission. The Australian Electoral Commission is a government body covered by parliamentary legislation which supervises elections, and they have referees, anonymous ballots. All the interested parties have observers. There's all this counting and recounting of votes that goes on. The Australian Electoral Commission has certain ways of doing things, but this poll, this plebiscite on marriage equality, isn't being conducted by the Australian Electoral Commission. It's not a vote. It's not anything like an anonymous poll. It's in fact what I received in the mail, and my wife received in the mail, is an opinion survey from the Census Bureau. Now, this Census Bureau, I understand, is a government department apart and separate from the Electoral Commission. And the Census Bureau has been sending out to every house an opinion poll asking someone, do they support marriage equality, yes or no, or something. And you're not supposed to put that, there's no polling stations. You don't go to a polling station to voice your opinion. You simply return it in the mail with the pre-printed envelope, the prepaid envelope. I mean, it is so bizarre. What is going on is so farcical, because there's all these people from one side or the other urging everyone to vote yes or vote no, but for some reason no one's saying that they aren't actually voting. The opinions of people in a Census Bureau, in a poll, in a survey, it's just a survey conducted by the Census Bureau. Now, from what I heard, I didn't even think the Census Bureau are allowed to. There's all kinds of legal difficulties with the Census Bureau actually sharing information in public. So what is actually this whole gay marriage thing being conducted by present federal government is entirely bogus. It's not any kind of poll or plebiscite. It's some kind of survey, opinion survey. And it's not conducted by post. Now, when this, I mean, people are being told to vote this and vote that as though it's going to mean something, but I don't understand how an opinion, an opinion survey conducted by a body of statisticians working for the government is somehow authoritative in terms of government legislation. That hasn't been explained to anybody. And it looks to me like a giant hustle. And I don't know why the Australian public in generally are just buying the crap, buying this transparent nonsense. Well, I mean, apparently, supposedly, Ireland voted in favour of marriage equality or whatever a few years ago, but everyone knows that Ireland's utterly dependent on EU funding, and if they weren't going to play ball with, the new gay rights agenda, they're obviously going to get their funding cut from the UN. I mean, the UN was twisting its arm to get this gay marriage thing up, and I mean, if you talk to Starikov, the Russian writer, he's got a long talk about the background of this sort of thing, where the EU is trying to force all these marriage equality sort of things on satellites, EU satellites like Moldova and White Russia and that sort of, and the Ukraine. I mean, against the will of the people. Now, that's one reason why it's very disturbing. It's this government, the present government, is offering doublethink. There's all this doublethink going on about what's the process that's being participated in, and no one is trying to actually clear up any of the ambiguities or make sense of anything. So that is very strange. So I mean, external observers outside of Australia, I mean, should be warned about reaching any kind of conclusions about anyone's opinion in Australia, because the what's actually going on can't be called forthright and honest in any way.